What is going on, everybody? Not exactly well, it was not a Tuesday show, but not exactly the Wednesday that we wanted to have with the Bills losing 25-22 the Jacksonville Jaguars. And a home game, by the way. A home game for the Buffalo Bills in London. A lot of questions about this game. A lot of plays left on the field. A lot of questions moving forward with the injuries to Matt Milano, to DaQuan Jones, um, adding to more defensive starters lost on that side of the ball for Coach Sean McDermott and defensive coordinator Sean McDermott. So tonight we're going to be talking about, obviously, recapping that game just a little bit. More or less talking about the ins and outs of that game and certain topics of it. Kaiir Elam played. We're going to diagnose that play a little bit. We're also going to be, second half of the show, we'll be previewing the Bills matchup coming with the New York Giants. And I have a pretty good question for you guys tonight. Just wondering what people are thinking here. Obviously, the Broncos are getting closer and closer to fire sale mode. And there's a name that the Bills seemed to be interested in last year. I have to research it again. I forgot if they were or not. But wide receiver Jeudy, we're going to answer the question is if the Bills should be interested in bringing in former first-round pick Jeudy if he becomes available for the Denver Broncos. But nonetheless, I am your host, JTM. Got my co-host, newly inducted to the Central Connecticut State Hall of Fame, James Mallory. Mal, what's going on, my guy? Hope you're still on that high from the induction. It was a joy.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Good evening, everybody. JT, thank you for attending. Really means a lot to me and my family, man. Thanks for coming, man. We had a good time, ate some good food, hung around some great people. We enjoyed the night, man. It was awesome. So yeah, I'm still excited about it. Um, Man, it still seem unreal, but it's real. It's real. I am officially inducted into the Central Connecticut State University Hall of Fame. So yeah.
Congratulations, much deserved, my man. Much deserved. Actually, I got a little clip for that for later too. And I told people that I would people were asking for us to go live and things as such. We didn't actually go live from it, but I did get a clip from it that your mom recorded. So I'm gonna play that a little later. But let's get on to this game right now. Obviously, once again, not the result that the Buffalo Bills won it, falling to 3-2. Lost to Jacksonville Jaguars 25-20. It just seemed to me that they just couldn't get going early. Stephon Diggs alluded to it. Josh Allen said before the game even began that they were kind of exhausted from the flight. So I know there's been all type of questions about the Bills' travel plans. Should they have traveled earlier to London? There was a question and we asked the question right here on this show last week, if it would be an advantage for the Jacksonville Jaguars staying over there. And I remember I was saying former Bills front center Eric Wood said he felt it was an advantage for the Bills because they had to sleep in their own beds. But we'll talk about that a little bit too. And Roger Goodell's experiment comment, which I think he should just kept this to his damn self, to be honest with you. But James, what do you think about this game? What do you think went wrong? What happened?
Um, I think the whole overseas experiment happened. I think this is one of those games where it's tricky. When you're going overseas, man, you never know what team you're gonna get. Everybody body responds differently making that travel, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
people need a day or two to kind of get adjusted. Some people will say the whole week feel a little funky to them. Some people go over there and just like they good to go. So it's very, very difficult to say the team that you'll get going over there. So this game, I didn't take too much in. I didn't read too much into it either way. If we'd have won or if we'd have lost, I wouldn't have read too much into this game, me personally. Just with everything that was going on, those overseas games are always a little funky to me. So I didn't read a ton into it. So obviously, I always want to come out with a victory. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not losing sleep over this loss at all.
No, I mean I'm not gonna lose any sleep either. But I've been saying before the season began, this is one game that I did not really like. I
Yeah.
felt that Jacksonville was not a great, and even if this game was played in Buffalo or Jacksonville, overall, I did not think that the Jacksonville Jaguars were necessarily a good matchup for the Buffalo Bills, especially being down. Obviously, Von Miller still coming back, Leonard Floyd being hurt, DaQuan Jones going down in that game, and the loss of Matt Milano was absolutely huge. But even before that, I just didn't see that this is a good matchup. Yeah, I mean, I remember going against the Eagles with Doug Peterson a couple of years ago, and they pretty much torched our defense then. And I would say in the first half of this football game,
That's what Miles Sanders had the big game, right?
yeah, Miles Sanders had a great game that game. So didn't like it. Didn't like it. Didn't like the fact that you had a mobile quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, not mobile in the fact that he's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, but mobile in the fact that he escaped about 5 or 6 sacks in this game.
He did.
The past couple of weeks for the Buffalo Bills were sacks and extended drives. You had the speed of Christian Kirk. You had the speed of Travis Etienne. Evan Ingram didn't do a whole lot of damage this game, but God knows Etienne and Calvin Ridley did the Buffalo Bills in.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the jet lag part of this. So there was an interesting comment said by the Jaguars, Travis Etienne, following the game. And his comment was he felt pretty much that the Jaguars had a major advantage over the Bills for Sunday's home team due to already being acclimated to the time difference. He said that pretty much their bodies felt a lot better going into this game versus the Bills than they did going into the Falcons game. It took them a while to get going. And his comment to me pretty much sums up the Buffalo Bills' first half, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Just hard to get going. It's like you're stuck in mud.
Yeah, it just seemed like the rhythm just wasn't there for the offense. It seemed like they were trying to get clicking. It just wasn't there. You could just see it. You could feel it, if that makes sense in regards to that whole the rhythm and just seeing the flow of it. They just never got into really a really good flow. They're so good, they're able to still put our team in position to at least win. But any other team would have got blown out. But they're so talented that they're able to overcome that somewhat.
Right, and I think that does speak to the talent on this team. Because, I mean, obviously, there were spurts in that fourth quarter where you thought they were going to take it over and going to come on back and win this game. Ultimately, end up coming up short. How much of a factor do you think that the lack of a run game was in this loss?
I think it played a factor because you can control things a little bit more. You don't have to play behind the sticks, meaning you don't got 2nd and 10. You don't got 3rd and 9, right? Where if your running game is effective, you got 3rd and 4s, a lot more 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 3s, even 3rd and 6, right? You can live with that as opposed to 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s. If the running game is going, that changes the way you call games. Because 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, you got so many different options, right? You can run the ball 3rd and 4, you can do whatever you want. It's 3rd and 8, you're not running the ball. That's just not gonna happen. Let's be real here. You're not running the ball then. So, that running game, I think the running game really not clicking. It affected a lot in regards to what we've seen in our offense in the games we've been successful.
I mean, honestly, that's 2 games where the running game hasn't really got going. 2 get back-to-back games. Where it completely disappeared. And honestly, if you tally up James Cook's yardage for the past 2 games, it was 29 yards versus the Dolphins, -4 against the Jags. So the last 2 games after a hot start, it's only 25 yards on the ground. Is that worrisome to you at all?
No, because somebody like him, you're going to get those games like that, right? He's still figuring out his way as a back to me. I think he's so much improved. It's crazy, but it's still things you got to work through, and all backs kind of have that, unless you're just elite, right? So I think that's why you see on the roster Latavius Murray and Damian Harris, because those guys can overcome those type of days when you have those, right? You have them guys on the roster for that. If that was the case, you have one backup and then a special teams running back. You don't have that. You have 2 guys that can really take the load off and really help with the running game.
As my guy Stevie Franchise checks in with us, says, "What's up, fellas? Happy belated birthday, James." Asks you, yes, Happy belated birthdays to
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My
James
birthday was
Mallory.
yesterday. Thank
You know,
you. I appreciate that.
yeah, great week for James Mallory going on here right now. But no, you know what? Like I said, I didn't attribute it to the loss. I know that there was a lot of conversation about if the Bills abandoned the run too early. I don't feel like they did abandon the run. Like obviously last season we banged the table and complained all season about them just abandoning the run at certain time periods of games or certain games. I don't feel like they abandoned. I just felt like that particular phase of the game the Jags were looking to take away. I think they
Yep,
key in on it, and I think it actually even surprised the Bills a little bit.
agree.
I mean, it's not too many teams go to a game where you come out of it saying they said we're gonna make Josh Allen beat us with his arm.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you probably see a bigger day from Gabe Davis, right? They'll give you that. Like, hey, you're not gonna get the running game clicking along with these weapons you got on the outside. You're gonna throw the ball around the park today. Probably is a mindset, and we may start seeing that more often. To be honest with you, because we got three
Yeah,
guys who can run the football now.
and we do. And you know what? That's something that we have to talk about. Obviously that we've had conversations on the show about Gabe Davis and overall contract extension. Is he underperforming? Is he overperforming? Do you feel underwhelming with his performance for the past couple seasons? And when is he gonna break out and be consistent? And I guess the other question would be, what is consistent for him? What is the stat line that we can say this is consistent for Gabe Davis and we're okay with it? Because I still think that we don't know what to expect on a game to game basis, and we don't even know how high to set the bar. I think that's the
And, and,
biggest problem.
and this is the thing where I think Bills fans want, right? Bills fans scream about a number two receiver, right? The Bills fans don't want a number two receiver because Gabe Davis is that and a damn good one at that. Bills fans want a 1B.
One
That's
B,
what
yep.
they want. They don't want a number two. Gabe Davis is a perfect example of what you call a number two receiver. That's what he is. He's a top half of the number two receivers. If you name a number two receivers, Bills fans, you really want a 1B. Quit saying a number two. You want a 1B. That's what you want, and we'll get into more of that later on in the show. But Gabe Davis, he's going to give you those games where he give you 115, 120. Then he's going to turn around and have a game with two catches for 14 yards. I mean, that's what you're going to get out of a number two receiver. If he was consistent, he would be a number one. That's what makes him a number two receiver. Is that you don't have that consistency of consistent 80-yard games, right? You have it's those times where you got those peaks and valleys, and I think that's what makes him a really he's a good number two receiver. He's a good
Okay.
player. He's not a bad player at all. So that's what he is.
So let me ask you this question before we move on. Within this offense, do the Bills need a 1B then? To take some of that pressure off Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, in my opinion, I would like to have one, but I don't think we need one.
Okay.
I don't think we need one because I think Gabe Davis is a big enough threat. He's shown it. Look what he did in that AFC Championship game. He's shown it. He can get us over the hump. I truly believe that. I don't think we need one. Would it be nice to have one? Heck yeah, but we don't need one.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
also
think
not a fan of paying Gabe Davis big money either.
I think what is obvious though is we do need a more consistent number three target, and whether that's coming from the tight end position or the
Yeah,
receiver position, we need to decipher who's going to be that number three guy because I'm feeling like if it's not the run game, there's nothing else taking pressure off Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs.
yeah.
Obviously,
Um,
Kincaid is a rookie.
I,
Excluding
I
him,
I look at it like this: Dawson Knox, you got to come. You got to step up. You paid to step up, man. We shouldn't be talking about looking for a number three option,
yeah,
and you getting paid the money you getting paid. Period. It's unacceptable. Um,
yeah, okay.
when you getting paid the money you're being paid, we shouldn't be talking about we need number three. People shouldn't be talking about scheming Kincaid, scheming Hardy in the offense, scheming Shreefield. We shouldn't be talking about this when we got a tight end that's making $12, $13 million. This is not a discussion we should have. That guy needs to step up and make plays. Some of these plays, the almost plays, got to be made when you pay that money, and that's just how it is. You're paid that money to make plays, not almost. You're paid it to make the play. Period. We shouldn't be having this discussion because honestly, I think nobody would beef if you took that money away from Dawson Knox and gave that contract to Gabe Davis. I don't think it's nobody that would argue with that. Gabe Davis making $12 million if you wasn't paying a tight end that. I don't think nobody would argue. That's a problem for me. Dawson Knox needs to step up.
Let me ask this question, based off what you just said. Do you think that, because it seems like Gabe Davis is sometimes the punching bag, right, of the offense, the ugly-headed stepchild sometimes. Do you think that because of the value of those contracts, and Gabe Davis is still on a rookie deal, that Dawson Knox does not get his fair share of accountability for lack thereof threats in his offense at times?
I don't know why people don't hold him accountable. I really don't know. When I see people dogging Gabe Davis, you've never heard me dog Gabe Davis because Gabe Davis is a really good number 2 receiver. Period. That's what he is. He has surpassed his draft stock where we drafted him. He surpassed that. He was absolutely a hit of a draft pick. Dawson Knox is a good player. Dawson Knox, for whatever reason, people don't talk about him not producing. I don't know why. And there's people I want to call out who love to dog certain players, but you never hear them dogging Dawson Knox. They'll blame it on everybody but him. I need answers there. Dawson Knox, you got to step up, man. You got to make plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, you gave me a guy out. I want to go see what his numbers is through these 5 games so far, because I mean that's huge. This is a guy. So we got week 1 versus the Jets, 3 catches, 25 yards. Week 2 versus the Raiders, 3 catches, 10 yards. Commanders, 1 catch, 11 yards. Dolphins, 1 catch, 12 yards. Jaguars, 3 catch, 17 yards. So through 5 games in this NFL season, Dawson Knox has 11 catches, 75 yards, and 1 touchdown.
That's preposterous. That's preposterous. I don't give a damn what nobody say. I don't want to hear nothing about Ken Dorsey. You do, and he's had opportunities, man. You got to make the play. He has a few drops too, man. That dude got to make plays, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what, Derwin Smythe, the blocking tight end from the Dolphins. Yes, I said blocking tight end from the Dolphins. Has 11 catches for 123 yards. He has the same amount of catches and more yardage than our $40 million man in Dawson Knox right now. That's a problem. It's absolutely a issue. And this is why I said last year that contract was premature and it should have never been given. Even if you want to resign Tremaine Edmonds, that contract should not have been given. And it is what it is. Like I said, I like Dawson.
I'm telling you, he'll be here 2 more years and he gone.
Yeah, it may not.
Maybe.
Yeah, we gotta look when opt out. It may be sooner than that if they need money. Now, mind you,
Yeah,
somebody will take him. Like I said, he's not a bum player. We're not saying he's a bad player.
No.
But this is more on, I would say this. This is more on the Bills, in my opinion, than it is Dawson Knox.
Let me ask this. Does Latavius Murray have more receiving yards than Dawson Knox right now?
Oh God, I'm gonna go look. I you know what? I sure hope not. But I will find this answer out for you.
That's unacceptable.
Well, let's just see what he got. Let's see. Latavius Murray. No, he doesn't have more. He doesn't have more. He's close though. He doesn't have more, but he is.
What's his yards?
He's at 49 yards. So he's about 24 yards off Dawson Knox right now. That's a problem.
1 catch away.
2 catches away. No, well, four catches away in about 29 yards. So, yeah, man. That's something that has to be talked about with this offense. Just saying. The other thing I want to talk about the defense. versus the Jaguars, right? I thought that the defense had a pretty solid. I thought he had a pretty solid first half, right? Um, the defense did. Obviously, the Jags hit them with a couple cross routes at the beginning. Caught a couple bad matchups. I think I saw one matchup where Jordan Poyer was matched up against Christian Kirk on a crossing route.
Yeah, yeah, that
And we'll
wasn't a
talk
good one.
about Kaiir Elam. Overall, I thought the defense locked in. Thought they were holding the Jags. I do feel like fatigue weighed a factor towards the end of that game where Travis Etienne just kind of started going nuts.
Yeah, the defense I felt played really really well. The defense kept us in the game, man. I don't know why people was getting on them. The defense played really really freaking well. They kept us in the game. They created turnovers in big situations. I'm talking in the red zone. Them dudes created turnovers, man. If you are saying the defense played bad, reevaluate, rewatch that game, and then say that again. Come back, come talk about that again. Um, I just think, people have somewhat unrealistic expectations. Um, it is a situation where D has some big injuries and they still produced. The defense played well enough for us to win. Period.
It goes back to the same thing I said last year. Somehow, some way, the defense always finds a way to show up and put the offense in a chance to win the game. They always put the offense on the path to possibly win the football game. And there's at times where our offense, which has been damn near completely healthy, has laid eggs for this defense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the offense a pass on this one a little bit because I do feel like Roger Goodell's experiment, he got the answer he was looking for. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about when I say Roger Goodell's experiment, he was asked a question. I think it was recorded earlier this summer, and he wanted to see what the outcome would be with one team possibly staying overseas, with playing back-to-back games in London, and one team traveling. So his statement was, the Jaguars are playing consecutive games over here and staying over here. Part of that is to see how teams will react to that. Is it a competitive disadvantage or advantage one way or another? We'll learn something from that, and it will help us to determine, can we play more games? All right. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. To play games or to experiment with how brutal and how dangerous the game in the NFL is, it's pretty damn stupid. I think it's stupid. I think it's one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard. So you mean to tell me that we have pretty much gotten rid of kickoff returns? We've enforced a lot of concussion protocols now. We've eliminated big hits on receivers, as you saw the big hit from Jordan Poyer to Calvin Ridley was called on defensive receivers.
That was crazy.
Yet you want to experiment with one team possibly being fresh and one team being tired as hell in the most brutal game on the planet. You've got to be kidding me. And I am a big Roger Goodell supporter and fan, but this right here, this may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard him say out of his damn mouth. And to add to it, we lost two of our best defensive players. We lost an all-pro linebacker, Matt Milano, and let's be honest, these injuries may have happened anyway.
Yeah.
It's possible. But now that you said this comment, now it makes us all wonder. We've lost DaQuan Jones, who was having possibly one of the best seasons out of any defensive tackle in the NFL quietly. James, you got to give me something on this.
I think I think it was foolish. I think he probably regret those comments. I think if he did feel that way, I think the way he delivered the message just comes out completely wrong. You don't play around, you don't experiment with people like that, and NFL careers are already short as is. Every game is very, very valuable because it's only 17 of them. It's not the NBA where if you lose 182, it ain't gonna hunt you like that, right? So I think he messed up. He messed up, and he knows it. Usually he does pretty well in regards to PR stuff, what he's saying, what he doesn't say. But this time he made some bad choice of words.
Like I
It's a
said,
bad choice.
if you did do that, and I get it. If you did it, you did it. Don't say it. Just keep
Yeah.
it to yourself. I'll take a couple questions real quick so we don't have them all at the end of the show. So we actually answer them as we go along here. Our guy Kaiir Elam asked, Knox is usually running 3 to 5 yard crossers. Allen hates anything less than a 5 yard. Is Knox getting late releases to chip our OTs? I don't think so. They don't usually chip him.
He got to produce.
Yeah.
Less than 100 yards in 5 games. He got to produce. I don't care if you chip every play. 100 yards in 5 games.
He's having 15 yards a game right now for $40 million. It's a problem. Our guy Rob asked, quick question. Was Diggs trying to do a ladder or did he just flat out cough it up? It was a hook and ladder. I think it was a hook and ladder going wrong.
Going to hook your ladder, throw it back. The guy run as many yards as he can, get out of bounds, and go Hail Mary next play.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who's supposed to be the ladder there, but they weren't there. So, my guy Mahal says it sounds pretty sadistic, talking about Roger Goodell's comments on the game or the experiment. And I want to move on to our next topic here. Obviously, the Bills lost Matt Milano and DaQuan Jones indefinitely right now. The only good news is they have not announced to be out for season. So, I mean, Matt Milano's with his knee and leg, not hearing that everything is torn or it's ACL or something of that sort, it leaves you a little bit of hope that maybe the injury wasn't as bad as initially thought. DaQuan Jones, obviously we saw the play. As soon as he went down, I knew it. You ever see somebody run past a big defensive lineman and they make the play and they stay down, especially with an arm? A lot of times it's a pack.
Especially with all that momentum, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pack. Which one of these losses do you think at this point in time in the season is going to impact this Bills defense more? Matt Milano or DaQuan Jones? And I think it's a fair question.
I think it's definitely a fair question, especially the way DaQuan Jones been playing. I think it's Milano. Because that dude flies all over the field. He makes plays. He bat down passes. Not saying DaQuan Jones isn't, but I think the bigger one is definitely going to be Matt Milano, man. He's one of the best in the league. He's an all-pro. He's a leader. So with all of that, it's definitely him. What you think, JT? Who you going to go with?
You know what? With this particular Bills defense and how they've been playing, I think it's DaQuan Jones, actually. And the reason I think that's because not only he's been a force against the run, but he's pretty much been the real catalyst to that defensive line. If you go look at his numbers here, DaQuan, just for PFF status, his overall grade was a 90. 76.9 versus the run and 89.5 versus the pass rush. Now you're talking in just pretty much 4 games. He had 3 sacks, 9 hurries, 3 QB hits, and 15 total QB pressures. So yeah. I actually think that, to be honest, the bigger impact for this particular injury may be DaQuan Jones, because I don't know if you're going to replicate. Well, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. The odds is you're probably not going to replicate.
Yeah, you're not. But I look at it like this. We've won with way less when we got Tim Suttle, Puna Ford playing the one tech. Those dudes can play. They can. They can play. And that's the one reason why I'm going to go with Milano, because those two dudes rotate. And the thing about, we've won and got farther, a lot farther in big games with less at the one tech than those two dudes. Those two dudes would have been a star in some of the defenses we've had. With Star Latule was in there. When I was a fan of Star, but it got bad at one point. So I'm definitely going to say that's the reason why I'm going to say go Milano, because even though I like the rookie, Milano, man, he's different.
Yeah.
Not that DaQuan Jones hasn't been different, but the replacement behind him is definitely more of a fall off.
They both hurt. And you know what? I may be combining my DaQuan Jones choice with also combine it with the loss of Trey White as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, we don't know who's replacing Matt Milano yet. I mean, like, we know who's replacing DaQuan Jones, and obviously we're pretty comfortable with the players behind him. Who do you think should replace Matt Milano at that linebacker spot? Because we saw Tyrell Dodson, again, with a New Jersey number, and to me, he looked the damn same. Terrible.
I think you got to go by committee until the rookie's safe or comfortable. Excuse me.
Dorian.
Dorian Williams.
Yeah.
But I think you sprinkle Dotson in there, kind of mix that vet in there, and kind of help bring them along to the game, slow down a little bit. I think you go by committee. That's just my opinion. I don't think you could just start Dotson.
I'm not playing Dotson. I'm not playing Dotson. At this point, I have less than no faith of playing Tyrell Dodson. I know if he's in the game, something is going to go the wrong way for us. And I'm sorry to say that. I do. I feel that strongly. You got to go get a veteran. If Dorian's not ready, you have to go get a veteran.
I agree. I mean, I can't disagree with you there. I know they activated AJ Klein today.
I ain't dance either.
But that's not the answer. but at the same time, would I prefer having AJ Klein there over Dotson? Maybe.
Yeah.
Because one thing about it, he's going to be a short tackler. Dotson will miss tackles now.
Yeah. And you know what? That's sad. That's sad that we can say a guy who was on the brink of retirement essentially thought he was a can't buy just to come in and help these kids transition while picking up a little bit extra pay, almost like an on-field coach for some of these young linebackers they got. Has to be called up from the practice squad and start over a guy who's in his mid-20s at tip-top shape.
I thought Dotson was going to get cut. I did. I ain't going to lie. I thought he was going to get released. Now, we might have to look – what's the name retired?
Who? Kirksey?
Yeah. But, naturally, he could play both positions.
Yeah.
So
you got to do something. My suggestion is I would play Dorian Williams.
I would too. I like what they did last week when they sprinkled Dotson in a little bit for him. I'm definitely in favor of starting Dorian Williams. Let the rookie, because he can run. One thing about it, that dude flies around.
Right. He's going to hit something. So
yeah.
My other suggestion would be, if you don't feel comfortable with him, you got to trade for a veteran. The veteran that I would call for would be the Carolina Panthers, and I would call for DaQuan Jones. I know he's more of a middle linebacker, but in this defense, that position that Milano plays is somewhat like a middle linebacker because you got the nickel back. Depending on the front that you're going against.
I can't get mad at that suggestion.
So,
we gotta look at somebody who, when we dig into this, JT, somebody who would know the scheme, somebody has been around McDermott, or somebody on the defensive staff, because the key thing is knowing the scheme. If you bring somebody in, they got to know what the hell they doing. That's why Josh Norman is here.
Yeah, we did sign Josh Norman.
And I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I didn't think Josh Norman played bad when he was here.
No, he didn't. People just want I ain't going to get into that. And I'm okay with it. He is who he is. He's going to be in the right place at the right time and won't be any blown assignments. I can live with the physical mistakes. He's going to do the right thing mentally. And then having somebody on the field that's smart like that, that goes a long way. People don't think about it. It goes a long way.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I feel like A.J. Klein is the last linebacker to have experience within this defense. Left. So, I don't know.
Well, you got to think about it. Eric Washington. Think about who he coached a couple of years ago. So it's a few coaches. Huh?
Who did he coach a couple years ago?
Carolina. He's a DC.
Okay. Well, Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson's the name that came to mind, but he broke his leg.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I said, hey, I wonder how Shaq Thompson's doing. And I seen broke his leg against Monday Night Football, so you have to rule that one out. But no, we'll see what happens with this. Obviously, 2 big losses adding on to the loss of Trey White. But that moves me to my next topic, Kaiir Elam. Okay. Obviously, Kaiir finally got in the game, had some action. It was rumors that he was kind of benched in the fourth quarter. Didn't particularly have the best showing. Okay. He actually got beat for it. If I look up his stats here, he was targeted 8 times. There were 6 receptions for 93 yards for an average of 15 yards per catch. QB rating 113 target him. Longest pass play was 20. But he did have 9 tackles in that game. So it's not all for loss. But let's also be honest. Let's remember who he was playing against on that side of the field, who they put him up against. Let's not talk about Calvin Ridley like he ain't Calvin Ridley now. James,
He's that dude. He's that dude. And people acting like he's supposed to line up and just not allow a catch for Calvin Ridley. It's not realistic. Calvin Ridley can play some football, man. I like Kaiir Elam. I think you just have to let him play. I think he's going to be a very, very good starter in the NFL. A very good starter in the NFL. That's my opinion. I think you just got to let him play. Start him again this week. Let him play. Let him play. That's just my opinion. You got to let him play. He's too gifted physically to not be able to work out in our system, in my opinion.
So, watching the game, like I said, I would have loved the better showing from Kaiir, but I didn't know that they were going to match him up against Calvin Ridley for the majority of this game. Essentially being inactive, well, actually being inactive the entire season. That's a hard, tough assignment to come out in your first game. Let's just be real about it. All right, that's a tough assignment. I don't know that any of the Bills' corners could have checked Calvin Ridley. Hell, I mean, Micah Hyde got matched up against him too, and yeah, he got toasted as well. Quick, fast, done.
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing to think about. First down. I have to ask this question. Is his struggles right now on the Bills?
It's just part of growth. He's got to play. You got to play.
Yeah, and that's my question. Is it on the Bills because he hasn't played?
Yeah, just let him play. I just think you line up Benford, and I want to see Benford and Elam start this week. Let them dudes play. I said it a few weeks ago. I think that's the future. You know, I really do. Before even, I didn't want Trey White to get hurt, but I can envision those 2 physically gifted guys lining up at corner and playing football for us, man. Dude, that's a problem.
I agree. I think you just gotta let Kaiir play. Let him figure it out. The problem is, if you would have let him play last year, this wouldn't have been a problem right now.
Yeah.
You didn't let him figure it out last year. So when I asked the question, is this on the Bills? Am I saying Kaiir is going to develop and be an all-pro? Hell, I don't know. But I would say this. He wasn't given the proper reps to be able to figure it out going to his second year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I said, if you go look at Calvin Ridley's stats, okay? Go look at Calvin Ridley's highlight reel. This is a guy just a couple years ago who had 143 targets and had 1,374 yards in only 15 games. This wasn't some bum that he was going against.
Yep.
All right, this was not some bum. This was a guy who, if it wasn't for a pretty boneheaded suspension in wager, was put up there with the league's elite. So he wasn't going to get some bum. So I think you got to let Kaiir figure it out. I think you need to give him a vote of confidence. I think you need to start him again. And I don't think there's going to be no questions asked. I think you also need to be very careful what Sean McDermott and these guys say in the media to the press. Confidence goes a long ways, especially with defensive backs. So, moving on. Obviously, there's been some rumors around the NFL. Obviously, there's going to be some teams that's going to be falling off. They fall off the wagon. The seasons are coming to an end already. There's going to be some coaching changes, and there's going to be some players who are going to get moved around for rebuilds, remodels, if you want to call it. Hell, reshuffles. We'll see. One name that keeps popping up is, for me and for you, is Denver Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. And I have to ask the question, with looking at that Bills offense in Jacksonville and looking at Jerry Jeudy's situation in Denver, would you trade for him, and do you think he could be an asset here? And if you would trade for him or if you wouldn't, why would you and why wouldn't you? What you got?
Yes. Try to give him a third round pick. What I will offer if I'm the Bills, third round pick and Shakir. Would they want Shakir? I don't know. Third round pick and Shakir. A talent like that, man, you line him up with Stephon Diggs. Dude, he's gonna get one-on-one coverage all day. You let him eat. You let him do him. I think he would do great things here. If you're looking to pay a second receiver, I don't think we're going to pay Gabe Davis. That could probably be the guy you get him here to have the season. And next year he gets a full season with Stephon Diggs. That's dangerous. I think if you can make that trade, dude, I know you have to do some things money wise. You make that work. You figure that out, in my opinion.
All right, so I think this is a move. If it becomes available, you got to make it. Just as interested as you were in DeAndre Hopkins, you should also be that interested in bringing a guy like a Jerry Jeudy in. Now, obviously, I know it hasn't worked out in Denver the way that it has, or it should have. But I think undoubtedly we can guarantee say that Jerry Jeudy coming to Buffalo will be playing with the best quarterback that he's ever played with in the NFL. And it's not even close. Which automatically I think makes him better. The second thing would be is coming to Buffalo put Jerry Jeudy in the best scheme that he's ever played in, with probably honestly the best OC that he's ever had in the NFL as well. Obviously, us knowing Nathaniel Hackett very well, and Sean Payton ain't really looking like the Sean Payton old right now in Denver calling plays for Russell Wilson. I think it's a move that's needed because, once again, as we said earlier in the show, you're still missing that third guy. I don't think we can't depend on Dalton Kincaid being that yet. Not this year. Eventually, I think we realize he'll probably be the number 2 guy in this offense at some point. Maybe even number 1 further down the line. We cannot depend on Dawson Knox being that guy. He's never been that guy. He's never going to be that guy for this team, most likely. And that brings me to the other guys. Really haven't found a way to get Sherford involved. We use Hardy the correct way. Couple handoffs, some punt returns, some screens, and we actually got a long ball this game versus the Jags. So he's getting his proper amount of touches. And Khalil Shakir, once again, another young player that I would have to question the Buffalo Bills on their development and lack of usage, which led to a second year where we're still looking like he's a deer in headlights at times. So with that being said, 110% you have to go try to get Jerry Jeudy if you could and buy off the Broncos fire sale, tag sale, however you want to call it. Why? Jerry Jeudy is not a number one receiver in the NFL. He's not a 1B either. He's a number 2. But what it gives you as a core is it gives you an elite number 1 and 2 bona fide number 2s. To me, that's just as good as having a 1A and a 1B. And he's interchangeable. He's an inside and outside guy. That gives you matchup problems. That give you more scheme. Gabe Davis cannot really play the inside receiver role. So you're very limited.
And also JT, and not to cut you off, it gives you a future where you got him for 2 years under contract, where you could figure out how to use him, right? So next year it's going to be a huge gap at that other receiver. Next year you can go into. I think Hardy's going to be better next year than this year in the scheme. You figure out how to use him. You get a Kincaid more season. You got not. So think about this. I don't want to look too far ahead, but you get a Jerry Jeudy, you get him involved. I think he can help us win the Super Bowl immediately. But then you go Jerry Jeudy, Stephon Diggs. You're gonna draft somebody. Then you go Hardy. Those are your top 4 receivers next year. Then you go Kincaid with a second year Kincaid, and then you got a Dawson Knox, who still we on him, but he still can be a weapon. He can produce, he can play. And then you got James Cook still. So I think it brightens your future as well. And it buys you some time to figure out exactly what you're going to do. And it doesn't put your back against the wall where you have to draft a receiver first or second round.
Yeah, you know what? I'm right along with you, and I think just the fact that the contract control is something you have to look at. If Gabe Davis walks this offseason, and we're already having salary cap issues, you don't really know if you can replace him.
Yep. And then when people know when you got to draft somebody, all people are going to do is jump you in the draft. That's all. You got to spend, they go move up. People are just going to jump you. They're going to know the Bills going receiver, right? So they're going to jump you in the draft. So instead of us even have to draft one the first, second round, dude, go get Jerry Jeudy. And then now you can really wait to see, okay, this guy fall. Somebody's going to fall this year in the draft in the third round. You can pick one in the third. Fourth. We got Gabe in the fourth, right? Third, fourth.
We got Gabe in the fourth.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that, and they're not forced to be playing right now, just like you did with Gabe Davis. You bring him along a little, not slowly, but bring him along, and then boom, we ready to roll.
Yeah. So it's an emphatic yes for me. I would make this move if it becomes available. It seems like I believe that the Bills were possibly interested in last year in Jeudy too, or at least did the due diligence. We know Brandon Beane checks in on literally everything. So I think this is a move that you make if you could, and more or less, I would make this move because the injuries on defense are piling up.
Yep.
And you don't know what your defense is going to look like moving forward or the second half of the season. So therefore, put yourself in a position that you put as many people in that field that you could outscore the other team every game. Period. I got Rob asked, what would you trade for Jeudy? I think you said a third and Khalil Shakir. I'm going to go a third round pick. Period. I don't think you have to throw Shakir in there at this point in time. The cancer is, excuse my terminology, but the cancer is setting in the Broncos locker room, and I don't think it's a secret. So, fire sale. Let's buy. Moving on, final topic of the night. Obviously, we got a pretty big game coming up on Sunday Night Football versus the New York Football Giants. They're 1-4. They're struggling. They're reeling. They're looking for a win. And just maybe, we may be facing Tyrod Taylor as a starter in this game. They have nothing to play for and everything to play for at the same time. What do you think about this battle?
I think we're going to beat them by 20-plus points. I think we're going to come out on fire. I think these guys are motivated. I think we're going to come out. I think we're going to take care of business. I think the defense is going to be on fire. I'm expecting them to fly around. So I'm excited about this opportunity. Isaiah Hodge just come back. The guys going to be motivated. They, for that. Playing against the whole teammate. It's always you always get excited about that. A few other guys there. Rhea. So we gonna take care of business. I got a feeling we're gonna win convincingly. I think we're gonna put them to bed real early.
I think that this is a game that's at the right place at the perfect time to get this team back on track. Um,
Yep.
the New York Giants were looked at into being a playoff contender going to this season, and quickly this season has derailed and went down the hill.
Yeah.
Now, I'm actually not that surprised, to be completely honest with you, just because obviously they play in the NFC East, and I think the NFC East is one of the toughest divisions in the NFL right now. But the reason I'm not surprised is because they got our guy, Brian Dable, with his hand in that offensive scheme pot. And I've said for plenty of years when Brian Dable was here that a lot of his offense was based off of Josh Allen creating something and making something happen. Well, but you don't have Josh Allen in New York anymore. But I do think you have a very decent quarterback in Daniel Jones. I'm actually a Daniel Jones fan. I like Daniel Jones. I just think that you have a head coach whose scheme is just not very good. And I don't think it's ever been good. I think we've seen moments, but moments don't get you dubs in the NFL.
Yep.
So I think it's at the right time, perfect place, perfect time, and we'll have to see if Saquon Barkley's going to play this week or if Daniel Jones is even going to play. If it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. But this is a
I
good
don't see
game for
Daniel
me.
Jones playing. You talking about the neck, and he couldn't even practice.
Yeah, it's done.
I can't. It'd be difficult to film a play, in my opinion. Never know.
No. And I haven't heard anything about Saquon, but like I said, perfect game, perfect time, perfect place. Get a chance to rebound and regroup and put it back together. Put that ugly Jacksonville London game behind you in the rear view. So
Yep.
three keys to this game for you. What do you think? What do you think the Bills got to do to beat the New York Giants here on Sunday Night Football?
Run the ball. Stop the run. Create turnovers.
Yeah, I say this. Take chances. I think the New York Giants have given up a lot of big plays this season so far. Take chances. Put the ball out there. Second, agree with you. Got to get the running game going. We got to get Cook back on track. He
Yep.
is pivotal to how deep this team goes in the playoffs or possible Super Bowl run. I would love to see getting Damian Harris a little bit more involved. I think he's been the third in line of the trio. So I'd love to see him getting more involved in the game. And the third thing is you have to stop. You have to control Dexter Lawrence. You got to
Yeah.
control Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. He can play.
now I will say this: Dex is my guy. Dex is my guy. Cool with Dex. One of the nicest guys you ever meet. But on that football field, he ain't so nice.
He a beast.
He's a monster. He got that switch, and that switch turns on, and that's why they're paying him the big bucks. Everything will start and end with stopping him on that defense. Because we've seen Chris Jones wreck our game plan at times, and we've seen Quentin Williams really wreck our game plan. And guess what? He's elite, if not better, than possibly both of those guys. But they're all in the same category.
And I got to say this before we go. I think we made some really good points before we give our final thoughts to close out. We getting one on our own too. And Oliver.
Yeah. You know what? This game right here, when you have two men who got extensions this season, this game is a nationally televised game. And everybody want to see Sexy Dexy. That's his nickname, Sexy Dexy. Do his Dexy dance with the sack, right? This is Ed's chance to show the world who this cowboy wrangler is in the middle of the Bills defense in Buffalo, who got this contract that a lot of people don't believe he deserved to get. You got an elite talent across the field from you. It's no different in high school. It's no different in college. There's somebody looking at film or filming to look at what Dex is going to do in that stance. Well, it's your opportunity to put the camera on you. So Ed got to show up. Vaughn is not back yet. Vaughn did not look good versus the Jags. He looked like a guy who wasn't even ready for a preseason game, to be completely honest with you, with lateral movement. Greg Rousseau is still ailing a foot. We don't know. We don't know what his status is going to be. Matt Milano is out behind you, and DaQuan Jones is no longer your running mate right now. And Leonard Floyd is battling injury as well. Is that
You got a dinged up ankle, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's that Oliver's time to step up. So I agree with you. So I don't know, man. But you know what? There is actually something that I was telling everybody, because we've been talking about your Hall of Fame induction moving forward the last couple of weeks, and I actually got a clip that your mom recorded, a little excerpt from your speech, which they gave you 5 to 7 minutes, and I think you kept it at like 5:43 or something like that. You're right on point. And I thought that this message from you was very indicative to who you are and what motivates you, what keeps you going, what drives you, and not just football, but just everyday life. So I wanted to play this for everybody just to give you guys an inside look of the mind of James Mallard and how Mallard works, because I think this is him all day.
I want to thank the support staff, but I have to, most importantly to me, I have to thank my haters and my non-believers. They pushed me to be an All-American. They pushed me to be the 4th leading rusher in the country. They pushed me to be a Walter Payton Award finalist. I wouldn't be here without them. So my haters and the non-believers, y'all enter in the Hall of Fame with me too. There's a lot of them.
I thought that was great. I thought that was the highlight of the night. And, you know, you talk about making moments memorable, right? I don't think that, in number, there was a lot of great people inducted to the Hall of Fame tonight, not just you. But when you talk about a memorable moment, what people are going to remember from that night, I think it's going to be that expert from that speech. So, applause to you and kudos to you for that. I guess I got Rob says you're looking pretty slick there too. Yeah, James had a nice suit on. Suit on, shades. Looking good. So, once again, just congratulations to you, James. Well deserved, well earned.
Thank you.
You know, I couldn't have a better co-host, in my opinion.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm glad I was able to make it and be there. And like I said, fun times.
Absolutely.
So, I'll give you a final thoughts on this game, man, and we'll get on up off this air.
I'm excited about the Bills to get back on, so I think we're gonna go out there and take care of business. And thank you. Appreciate it. But I think we'll go out there. I think we'll take care of business. Like I said, I think we'll win pretty big, convincingly. I think one thing I think is going to happen. I think Matt Brea is going to have a solid day. I think he is. I think they're going to lean on the running game. They're going to try to keep this. They're going to try to run the score. They're going to try to stop the bleeding a little bit. I think he may have a decent day. Hopefully not. But I think the Bills are going to come out and take care of business.
Yeah. I think they will too. And if they don't, when you talk about is it time to hit the panic button? Absolutely. If something happens where they don't win this football game, it is 110% time to hit the panic button.
Yep.
Okay, so overall, I don't think they're going to have that issue. I think that you saw in the second half of that Jacksonville game, just like what you said earlier, how much talent they have on this roster to be able to just hit that switch and just go. I think they come out, they steamroll them. It's actually a game I will be at. I don't know. Did the Bills announce the legend of the game yet? Because I don't think they did. I'm not going to announce it yet. I ain't going to announce it either. So I ain't going to be that guy. I ain't going to be that guy. But I will be at this game. It'll probably be one of the few games I'll make it to this year. It's going to be an electric environment on Sunday night. I was actually lucky enough to go to the Bills-Packers Sunday night game last year, thanks to Anthony Farrell for forcing me to go, and thank God he did because I had a great time. I had never been to a Bills primetime game at nighttime. I went to in Buffalo. I went to the Jets and Bills a couple years ago at Thursday Night Football. But it's going to be an electric environment. It's going to be great. So the Bills need to come out with a win. We'll give our predictions. We didn't do our prediction post of the week because with everything going on, we just kind of got just hung up there.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot this week. Yeah, it was. So with that being said, I think the Bills need to do what they got to do. We'll release our predictions for you guys to comment on later this week. And other than that, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, next week, Tuesday, we're talking about a Buffalo Bills win and a 4-2 team that looked good on offense, answered some questions on defense, and are moving forward. Because if not, it's going to be one ugly-ass show. And it's going to be NFSW, okay? So, for my co-host, once again, congratulations to James Mallory, new inductee to the Central Connecticut State Hall of Fame. And for myself, JTM, thank you guys for tuning in as always. Go Bills. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for always supporting. Peace.